Welcome to Inside the Mill. We talk real fitness, real results, and the stories to prove it. Welcome back to another episode, Inside the Mill podcast. Coach Christian here, my main man, Seth. And between me and Seth, we've worked with hundreds of women in their 40s, 50s, 60s who, putting in a lot of effort, but a lot of times they come to us and they're stuck. And the reason that they're stuck is they've been given the wrong blueprint. And there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of noise between social media. There's a lot of noise between men trying to tell women how to train. There's just so much stuff that, can definitely leave you feeling frustrated and feeling like there's something wrong with your body and that you're different from everybody else. And so what we want to do is in this episode is talking about the 5 biggest fitness mistakes middle-aged women are making, and it's just flat out destroying their progress. So point number 1, women over focus on cardio and they under train their strength. And this is something that, man, we need to make a reel out of this because we have a couple of individuals, ladies in our gym that are in their 60s and they strength train hard. Like they push themselves. They push themselves to the max whenever they're in here. But they strength train 3 days a week and they get their steps on their off days. They're consistent in the gym. And a lot of ladies think if they work out consistently and push themselves, that they're going to get this bulky look. These 2 women that I'm talking about, and I'll make a reel out of this and I'll put their picture up on the screen right now. But they are lean individuals that work out 3 times a week and they show you that it's completely just different mindset as far as thinking that whenever you push yourself strength training wise that you're going to get this bulky look, because it's actually the opposite. You're going to get this tone look, especially when you're combining that with a good nutrition plan too. Problem wise on that, Seth, anything that you want to touch on there as far as over relying on that cardio?
What you're speaking of, just there's so much out there that it starts to confusion inside of it. So we feel like, I think a lot of people and a lot of women it's like they break a little bit more of a sweat and they think that has to do with burning fat. Is like, oh, I'm getting more, I'm sweating more, things like that. And so that means that and when in actuality, it's like, it's that it don't have anything to do with how much you're sweating or how heavy you're breathing. That's not the case. So I think a lot of individuals are already so stressed out that they're actually doing themselves a disservice and I think that's the awareness side of it is once they start to become aware that it doesn't have to be doing things you hate and doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to spend hours and hours doing it. Just being more focused around, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, but the strength training, protein, and going from there. So,
Well, the problem with over relying on cardio is you're teaching your metabolism to slow down because the less muscle we have on our body, the less our body burns naturally at rest. So then therefore you got to eat less food, but then you're burning all of these calories and you're running yourself into the ground, but you don't have enough energy and fuel to be able to do that. So eventually it just leads into a dead end. And with that, we can go into the possibility side of it. When you shift your focus to strength training, you start to build lean muscle. You start to increase your metabolism. So like if you do want to go out occasionally with your husband and you guys want to go out to a restaurant, you guys want to go certain places where you might eat off plan 1 or 2 times, you're able to do that because your body can eat more calories and still be in your maintenance or even in a calorie deficit. So like your metabolism speeds up. You become more of a fat burning machine rather than a fat storing machine is what I would say when you have more muscle on your body. A muscle is just, you kind of look at like a bank account, like muscle is very expensive. The more muscle you have on your body, the more expensive it is to have. So then the more you're going to burn naturally just from having more muscle on your body. So anything you want to touch on there?
no,
On to the next.
yeah.
Let's do it. Number 2, man, this one's big. Copying what their husband does for weight loss. And this is what leads to that frustration that I see a lot where ladies go, I'm different. There's something wrong with my body, but they're just following the wrong blueprint. They got the wrong game plan because the thing is, like with men, we have more testosterone. Women have testosterone too, but they don't have as much testosterone. And so with this, men can just go into a more of an extreme calorie deficit. They can start to train more. They can They basically build muscle faster and lose fat faster. And so they see the progress real quick. And ladies try to follow that same game plan. But what it does is it overstresses their body a lot of times because they have, different hormones than guys do. And so what this does is you're just following, it's not that there's necessarily anything wrong with you. You're just following the wrong plan that's not serving your body. And so we have to find a way to serve your body. So just stop following what your husband does. Stop eating the same exact foods. Stop trying to train as hard as he does. Like, we got to find a game plan and a blueprint. And this is why having a coach is so important to be able to help you out there. Possibility with that, when you stop copying and start customizing the approach to match your body, everything shifts. Your energy starts to come back. Stubborn fat you start to lose, and you flat out just get results that are going to start to stick rather than just like that endless cycle of running yourself into the ground, overstressing your body and storing more fat ultimately. Anything you touch on there?
I do think that the basics though,
Basics apply to everybody.
yeah, it's
Get your steps,
get
train 3 days a week.
your protein, your sleep, your recovery. We do need a strength training. So I think that men and women both need a strength training. The only problem is I think that men that have worked out and maybe they've never had a coach, and so they've just done it on their own, and then their wives, they start to go, well, you need to do this. And some of these guys are, they've worked out for so long, and maybe they've been so consistent with their strength training that maybe their buys and try workout or their chest day workouts, those things work for them because they've built such a constant and been consistent at it. And then they want to plug you into that mix and go like, well, you just need to do the workouts that I do. And it's like, well, do they have the results that you want? And majority of the time, your husband's not going to have the same results that you want. And so they get you in this place of working out like they work out. Now, I will say that our clients inside the Vitality Mill, men and women, really do work out the same. We're hitting usually a full body type of way of strength training.
And going into that, that's kind of what makes us different is with our clients, we don't have them on a back and buys, chest and tries, these splits where you're hitting one or two muscle groups each day. We've got our clients training 3 days per week on average, full body strength training. And that's one of those things that you can plug and place in for anybody. And it's a thing that anybody can get results on. Nutrition wise, there is some things that we have to shift the focus for a lot of ladies and show them like, don't be afraid to fuel yourself, because a lot of women come into it and they're scared to eat anything. They're scared to eat protein. They're scared to put on muscle. And so that's what we do is we help flip that mindset around that and show them like, hey, in order for you to get results, we are going to have to eat an adequate enough food, especially with your strength training now. You're going to have enough food to fuel your body in order to even get the results, because when you overstress your body, that's when your body starts to stall out and it gets into that mindset of scarcity where it's like, I know I'm not getting any food. So what we have right here, I'm storing it. So that's where you see where women start to undereat extreme in an extreme deficit, and then they're trying to strength train, and then they're trying to do all these other things and be very active and take care of their kids and work. That's when they become overstressed, and then stuff starts to stall and ultimately just leads them to burning out and giving up because they feel like there's something wrong with them. So yeah, with that, like, there's some of those non-negotiables that we have everybody on the same plan and they're able to get results on it. Let's touch on point number 3. This applies to everybody too, man, is not prioritizing recovery and sleep. Lots of women, man, they train hard, they do their best eating clean, and wonder why nothing's happening. And I just had a talk with a client the other day. He came to me and he's like, man, like, I'm getting tons of progress. But my wife, she's very frustrated because not only does she see the progress I'm getting, but she's she's hit a plateau and lost a few pounds the first couple of weeks, but then now has hit a plateau. But not only is she not doing a lot of the non-negotiables that he's doing on a daily basis, but she's scrolling late at night. And I told him, like, dude, her being on TikTok late at night, like, there's going to be certain versions of herself she's going to have to accept and kill off in order to get the results. But we can't have everything. We can't scroll late nights. We can't sleep in. We can't eat whatever we want and expect to get the results. Like, there's certain non-negotiables that you got to do. And one of those is recovery and sleep. And you can be doing all the right things, eating in a calorie deficit, training 3 days a week, getting your water in. But if you're not sleeping, that right there can cause you to not get results. Just that alone. And so I think getting a grip on that is a huge problem. And this is something that Seth has educated me on. He's like, dude, you got to get better sleep. So I know Seth could touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So like, yeah, my wife is she'll do that exactly that same things where like I'm getting in and putting a focus on getting sleep consistency of, hey, this is about the time we're going to bed, 8:30 to 9 o'clock. So the same time we're going to wake up about the same time. But I may be with that getting in bed and I may like phone's not looking at it. I've got my blue blockers on. I'm doing these little things. I'm quit eating a couple of hours before bedtime so that I'm finding that rhythm to where I just roll over and go to sleep. And then oftentimes it might be my wife is still watching TV or still looking at her phone and things like that, drinking caffeine right there, closer time to bed where at noon I'm shut it off. It's like I'm not having any caffeine afternoon. So there just needs to be like these non-negotiables of like, hey, this is the way that I'm, and getting out of our comfort zone of like, oh well, I haven't looked at my phone all day. So you've been on your phone all day. So but I haven't been able to. It's like, okay. So with that, it's going to impact your sleep. And the other side of it is tracking and actually knowing. A lot of us are playing this game of, oh, I get pretty good sleep, and it's like, how do you know? How do you know you're getting pretty good sleep? What's that look like? I track my sleep. I know that you can kind of track your sleep. I think
Yeah.
with your Garmin and what do. So like I know the facts of like this is how much sleep I'm getting. This is where I am on my recovery side of it. So, but with regardless if it's men or women, and that the rules are the same. And we just got to if you're a lady or you're a guy, you have to just go, hey, you know what? Like there's always another version of the where I can go. And what got me here is not gonna get me there, and start to be real with yourself on like, hey, this is something that I'm still doing, and maybe I don't understand, and maybe I don't understand how it is impacting my
No
sleep.
doubt.
But yes, get on your phone, like looking at, and that's stressful too. I mean,
Absolutely. Half the stuff you see on there
yeah.
is going to
So
put you under stress.
and then you're watching, you're staying up later, and all of it. So yeah, and I again, we say this is women, but I'm looking at everything we're talking about, and
Yeah.
it's a men and women
No doubt.
process as far as that
No
goes.
doubt. And I think the biggest reason that I wanted this to specifically, because our last episode was about men, but I wanted to, because a lot of times, man, women are unaware of a lot of these things right here, and they've already got themselves to a point where they go, I'm different. Something is wrong with me. This is why I can't get results. And this is why I want to show you like these 5 steps. One of these, you're going to be like, I'm terrible about that. This is going to shine a spotlight on one of these things. And this is exactly, and it's interchangeable for men and women. But for a lot of ladies, there's somewhere one of these 5 points that you are not doing that you could start to do, and you could start to get results and show yourself that, okay, I can do this.
Well, I think this is what we're trying to get across is, yeah, these 5 points definitely hit. But I think the biggest underlying problem, if we looked at all of it and like we can go through these 5, is the story that we told ourselves,
Mhm.
that my hormones are the issue, that I'm different. And being in that frame of mind, what happens is like you've already started to lose, because now you're going to listen to these 5 things and go, oh, these 5 things don't necessarily apply to me because I'm different and I have it. So underlying, I think that we could go, here's the one big problem is you're not different. And that hurts a little bit, because you will see those ladies that are 60 years old. You will see that lady that we have, Catherine, that was 70-something years old, that comes in, and like you wanna make yourself feel a little bit different of like, okay, well, I can't get the results because of this. And so, and then that makes it where you won't even listen to these things. So I think the number one underlying problem is realizing that you're not different, that your problems are all the same to everyone else's, that as men and women, yeah, we do need to a few things that need to change that are different with our hormones and stuff. But when it comes to like the things that we need to implement, they're all the same. And with that, with women, it's like eating your protein. You need to be focused on your protein. You need to be focused on these things, focused on your sleep, focused on the strength training. But that applies to all of us as far as that stuff goes. But with ladies, it's like it's been over the years of my hormones and this and that. And we get ladies that are stepping in and they say all these things. And then we start to implement these steps. And then they start to realize that
They get results.
they're getting results regardless of what their hormones and things like that are. Now, is that a factor? Absolutely. Is that something we need to look at? Absolutely. But let's get all these in rhythm, and then we can start to look at the blood work and things like that and get to the hormone side of it.
No doubt. Yeah. And with you saying, is that a factor? Like, it definitely can be. All 5 of these points can move the needle to get you the results. So if anything, if you're not implementing these, you've got to start implementing these because it is going to help you get those results. Number 4, chasing perfection instead of consistency. Just having that all or nothing mindset. If you miss a day, you let that compound into another day. If you get off track with your meal and then you start to go, well, what's the point? I've already had this today. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll get back on track tomorrow. Like, we need to get into that mindset as there is no tomorrow. We got to focus on today. What can I do today to move the needle? And just focus on today. And just this is why Seth has shown me how to do this, and we've implemented this into our clients here. Is we track wins. We track wins every single week, and every Friday we ask our clients, what's your 3 biggest wins? And then that way it's able to show them. And a lot of times I'll get a response and go, I don't really feel like I did that much well this week. And then I'll point out, well, I trained you twice this week, so you got 2 workouts in, right? Like, we start to show them areas where they are winning, because you got to show yourself on a daily basis that you're winning. Because if you get into that mindset of just negativity, it's what you focus on is what you get. You focus on negativity, you get negativity. You focus on yourself getting lack of results, you get lack of results. You got to flip that mindset, and that's what we focus on here, as we try to just change the way that what you're focused on to help you push forward. Last point here, point number 5, doing it alone and lacking accountability. And this is what we're huge and what we pride ourselves on, is we hold our clients accountable. And we're asking them questions. And that's all a good coach really does, is we ask clients questions that actually makes them look into the mirror. And most of the time they figure it out on their own. They just need somebody that's holding them accountable to showing up and asking them the right questions. They start to solve a lot of the problems on their own and see what they're not doing. And that's able to kind of launch them forward and get them the results, and just the community side of it. Because you want, and this is what we see all the time, is clients that come into the gym and they start making friends in the gym, and then they start hanging out outside the gym, but they're putting themselves in an environment where they're able to get success in here, and just relying on each other. And people want to feel noticed and want to feel like somebody's thinking about them. So that's going to be that extra leverage to get your butt up and get you into the gym on a daily basis.
Nobody wants to be told what to do. As Christian was saying, it's coaching is asking questions. Questions are steering wheel of the mind. So the more we can ask questions and you can figure it out on your own, the more it's like and I say this all the time, it's like a balcony view. So like, you're sitting at the top of the balcony. Now you can look down and go like, oh, I'm not going to bed at a certain time. I'm all over the place there. Oh, I can see that I'm not tracking how much protein I'm getting. Oh, I can see that I don't know how many steps I get a day. Oh, I see that I'm not necessarily getting in 3 days a week of strength training. Oh, I see that like my last 1 or 2 reps on the strength training aren't really difficult, that I could go up in weight and things like that. And then when you start to understand this stuff, then it starts to make it where it's like you can start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And when you start to become aware of that, and you actually have the freedom and the power to go like, oh, this is where I'm struggling and this is where I need to get better at, instead of your one of us going, you need to do this, you need to do this, you should do this, you should do that, and you figure it out, then that gives you the power to then make the decisions of like, okay, this is something I need to get better at. And at some point, we get tired of our own crap and that we're not getting the results that we want, and we realize our way is not working. And then we're open to, okay, point me in the right direction, guide me from here, show me the direction I need to go. And when you get to that place, that's when we're going to win as far as that goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what a lot of people get into that mindset of is like, well, they just accept it and they're doing the same stuff, but they expect to get different results. You got to make little pivots and little tweaks here.
And it goes back to the story of that you're not different, that you're that I've got this as a problem, then nobody else does. It's like, no, foundationally, we all have the same problems,
Yeah.
and same issues.
We're all
We can definitely go, this is the men problem, this is the women problem, but really it's just a problem.
no doubt. So before we close this out, let's recap on the 5 points. Too much cardio, not enough strength training, copying your husband's plan, ignoring recovery, chasing perfection, and then trying to do it alone. All of these things, you jump into our 42 strong program that we are about to start running again. We've seen ladies come into this program and absolutely thrive. Not only do they build confidence in themselves and show themselves that they are capable, but on average, they're losing about 10 to 15 pounds within the 42 days. And then from there, a lot of them want to work with us long term because they're like, wow, this is a plan that I've never ran before and something that I've never experienced, or we educate them and, they kind of move on from there. But the ones that work with us for a minimum of 6 months after going through that 42 strong program are ones that are really getting results and habits that really stick. And that's all the 42 strong program is building habits and changing the way that you do things to actually serve your body.
Yeah, I think that it really comes down to simplicity. You make it super simple. And then when it's super simple, then you can be, then consistency comes into play. So simplicity and consistency, those are the two reasons why the 42 day strong works. We start taking the hard stuff out and we just start saying, hey, let's focus on these little simple things. Let's start focusing on this meal plan and the structure we give you around here. Let's start focusing on getting a certain amount of steps in. Let's start making it into the gym 3 days a week. Let's start making sure we're hitting our water, but then let's also answer the questions that we're giving you so that you can start to figure this out on your own, and you can start to actually have a scoreboard and see that you're actually making progress and that you're winning. Sometimes that may not be on the scale. Sometimes that may be just on overall how you're feeling and how you feel impacts every area of your lives. If it's something that you're interested in, joining us in 42 Days Strong, you can always message us 42 Day and we'll point you in the right direction there. We're going to see ads coming out here pretty quick on those as well. It's going to be out on the interwebs that you can apply that way. But the biggest thing is just raising your hand and going, hey, my way's not working. I need to do something different. Come in for 42 days, and that investment that you make in that 42 days, after you complete the 42 days, we will give you that investment back so that you can reinvest it into the next phase, which is going to go into what ultimately what we're trying to do with everything that we're doing is phase one's momentum, get those results, start seeing some results and makes our mind the happiest, and taking it into phase two, which is the skill set side of it. So now we can really start to teach you on the skill set side way of eating, but also on the skill set side way of strength training full body so that you can you get in that rhythm. Once you start getting in that rhythm, then as Christian was saying, there's versions of yourself that you need to start to become aware that aren't serving you anymore, that you need to kill off. And then it starts to just roll. But I think the biggest thing that I would take from this is yes, all 5 of these steps, we need to put those into play, but realize that you're not different, that your struggles are the same struggles that I've seen and the Christian's seen, that I've seen. Christians said hundreds of ladies that we've worked with. I've sunk that up
Both of us.
with myself, just by myself in the last 19 and a half years. I've been thousands of them.
No doubt.
So it's got hundreds on your side, but
Yeah.
you're in the game with me. But then at the same time, I've seen it, and it's one of those things that you're not different.
Yeah.
It's just that you're trying to do these boot camps, this high intensity stuff. You're not putting a focus on protein. You're not putting a focus on and just getting steps in and getting better sleep, and you're trying to kill yourself more and more and burn both ends of the stick, and then that's why you're not getting the results that you want, is because you're just stressed out, you're tired, and you're doing things that you hate to do to try to get results, and that's the big focus of why you're not getting the results that you want. So
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, flat out, what makes us different is we have a plan that we know works because it's been tested by hundreds. And then we flat out care more than anybody else does. And so, if that sounds like something you're interested in, we hope that you guys reach out to us at the Vitality Mill. Other than that, that'll wrap up this episode of Inside the Mill podcast. We'll see you on the next one.